the Commission got underway, that of course one of the problems with creativity is you can't define it. And I wasn't being specious when I said, I think the problem is you can't. And I meant that seriously, because if you don't have a definition of creativity, you're led into all kinds of myths and misconceptions about it. There are three related terms which I think it's important to both distinguish and connect when we start to think about creativity in education. The three terms are imagination, creativity, and innovation. They can be used interchangeably, but I think it's wrong to do that, because they do point to different core ideas. Imagination, for me, is where this all begins. Imagination is the wellspring of creativity. So if we're interested to cultivate creativity, we have to begin by stimulating and creating conditions for stimulating our natural powers of imagination. Imagination, as I conceive of it, and I'm not alone in conceiving it this way, but at least let me put a stake in the ground here. Imagination is the ability to bring into mind things that aren't present to our senses. With imagination, you can visit the past in your mind's eye. And interestingly, of course, the past isn't a settled domain. It's why history is such a fascinating discipline. The past is open constantly to interpretation and reinterpretation as we apply different filters to it. But with imagination, you can cast your mind backwards into the past. You can cast it forward into the future. You can anticipate, you can hypothesize, you can speculate. You can't always predict very comfortably, particularly not in the world of human affairs, certainly not as comfortably as you can in the natural sciences, but you can anticipate and speculate. With imagination, you can look into other people's points of view. You can try and see the world as they do. Imagination for human beings, at any rate, is one of the seats of empathy and compassion. It's the capacity to see the world as others might see it, to feel as they might feel. Creativity is a step on. Creativity is putting your imagination to work. It's applied imagination. You see, to be creative, you have to do something. To dwell in your imagination, you don't. You can be imaginative all day long and never do anything. You could be lying in bed, have a wonderful imaginative time, but it may never result in anything in the external world. Creativity has outcomes in the public arena. And the point about creativity is that it is an applied process, and we know quite a bit about how it works and the conditions under which it flourishes. Innovation, then, is putting good ideas into practice. So these three terms, imagination, creativity, and innovation, are central to a strategy for creative education.